Hello, welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in CT. My name is Sandra Wanja Wangui, and today I am delighted to be representing the task force group. I am excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Sonam Pelden, a tech entrepreneur who was involved in the foundation of a service marketplace in Southeast Asia and has since built other tech companies. So Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in technology, being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. In 2021, Girls in ICT was held on the 22nd of April. The aims of the Girls in ICT Day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studying and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. Task Force is pleased to be a partner of, or better said, on this session today. The goals of the series include interest and inspiring girls and young women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, or even offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of the sustainable development goals and other UN goals. To kick off this session, I'm going to introduce you to Task Force. Task Force is a group of students from Genofefa Gymnasium in Cologne. It's a high school in Cologne, who came together at the beginning of the pandemic to help with digitalization in our school. Throughout, my main job has been to help other students as well as teachers with their devices and to ensure that everyone has access to the applications used in school. Task Force is a project that I can be proud of due to the fact that not only do we solve minor interior issues like school interior issues, but we even found donors who could give us a good number of devices, which we lend out to students who cannot afford any, especially or specifically for them to be able to join classes during the lockdown. As you can see, a more gender balanced tech sector is something that I'm passionate about and working towards. So I am delighted to now shift to a conversation with Sonam Pelden. So hello, Sonam Pelden.
Hi,
how are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm also doing well. It's 8
bright
in
and
the
early.
morning.
Yeah, bright and
Quite
early for
early.
you. It's 3 p.m. for me here in Singapore, but I'm glad you
Nice.
I'm glad you woke up early to have this conversation. I'm very excited.
I'm also very happy you took the time to have this conversation with me.
Of course, of course.
So what was your path from then to now? How did you find your way to tech?
Oh, it's a really long story, and it didn't always. I growing up never even thought about tech, honestly. I mean, I grew up in Bhutan. Do you know where Bhutan is?
I know it's somewhere in Asia, but I'm not really having it in my head in the map.
Okay. It's a very tiny kingdom in the Himalayas. So we're squished between two of the most populous countries in the world, India and China. So I grew up there and growing up, pretty average, pretty standard, wanted to become a doctor. Parents were parents at the time, as you would expect in a normal Asian society, would always encourage you to be a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer. And that's what I wanted to do. And all throughout high school and even in college, I was studying biology, more specifically neuroscience when I was in college, because I thought at the time that I wanted to become a doctor, and ended up not doing that, spoiler alert. After college, actually went and worked in the finance industry, worked as an editor at The Economist in New York. And then from there, kind of got interested in studying more about the financial markets, about business, and then went on to do an MBA at Oxford. And this was back in 2013. And it was there that I met up with my friends who would later on end up becoming my business partners and people that I end up starting the first tech company together with. It was there that I understood the possibilities of technology. And although at the time I was still studying finance, business management, all of that, I really started taking an interest into programming, looking up online classes by myself, seeing if there was something that I could do, ask my friends if they'd be interested to help me out. And that's how I actually got into it. And I would still not brand myself, or at the time, obviously at the time and still not today, as like, a full-on techie or a programmer, because I got in really from the marketing side, from the finance side, and coming in and helping out where I can, but really trying to learn as much as possible. But since then, and up until now, I have been in the tech space, as you've rightfully introduced me as having started a services marketplace in Southeast Asia. That's how I began my career in the tech industry. Since then, I have also been working in the blockchain space. Right now, I'm working and leading a team in Singapore for a cryptocurrency exchange. We're also doing multiple projects around decentralized finance, NFTs. I'm sure you've heard a lot about those. So a lot of fun things are happening in this space. So we're trying to explore, be flexible, be versatile, and at the same time, the most important thing is still learning every single day to see, exactly what we want to do. And in the middle, I feel like what's helped me a lot in my journey in tech has been not just learning about it, but also teaching about it. So I told you I'm from Bhutan. I started this organization called Code for Bhutan as well, back in 2019 now, was it? 2019, 2018, where we teach programming for free to anybody in Bhutan who wants to learn. And that actually opened up a lot of opportunities for me. And we got the chance to work with Google as well and bring the Google Developers Group into Bhutan so that, a lot more people can be exposed not only to programming and coding, but also really understand what sort of resources are out there so that they can, if they wanted to, pursue a career in tech as well. So I hope that answers your question. It's kind of a convoluted journey. It didn't start, from day one thinking that I want to be in tech or I want to learn programming. It just so happened, and I felt like, especially in the last decade, this was the most exciting space to be in. There was a lot of changes, a lot of development, and a lot of people around me were talking about it. So I would say, it's a mixture of being at the right place at the right time and then taking up the opportunities and really like putting myself in this space and learning as well.
Yeah, I find it quite interesting and quite inspiring that it's not something you just found out directly after college. I'd say you did a whole lot of other stuff before even realizing you like tech and you like to go into the sector of tech. So I think it's quite a story.
Thank you. And I feel like for you as well, like, or like people in your school or in your generation, the things that you would probably end up doing don't exist right now, right? So it's very hard for you to say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be X, Y, and Z or A, B, and C, because that thing hasn't been invented yet. So I think having this like open mind to go and explore and be ready to experiment and put yourself into a learning mentality, a learning space. I think that's what's helped me. So, yeah.
So I'm quite curious, what's your job today? You said you have a team. What exactly do you do?
Okay, so when I always have a hard time introducing myself because there's like there's like a few projects floating around all the time, but I would say my day job and the company that I am based out of in Singapore right now is called QuantFi, and we are a cryptocurrency exchange. And around that, we have a team of blockchain developers who are, like I've said, working around the decentralized finance space, around blockchain. We experiment a lot with new technology and innovation that's coming up. And at the moment, as we speak, we're also working on a few NFT projects. So it's been a lot of fun, to be honest, like just trying to see, what technology sticks and what doesn't. We don't know either, but the team's pretty open-minded to just experiment, because ultimately at the end of the day, the base or the foundation of the tech itself is the same, which is the blockchain space. And that's what we're primarily involved in.
Yeah, tech seems to be something one learns something each and every day. So it's not like as if you go to school and then you study something and that's something that stays for ages, but you learn something each and every day. That's something I also like about it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you seem to be very passionate about your job. You are really happy talking about your job. You seem to love your job. So what do you think, or what do you like best about your job in technology?
I mean, yes, you're correct in saying that I seem like I'm happy with my job. I am most days. I would say it's a very exciting space to be in. I like that there isn't a cookie cutter set that you come in and you think, oh, in the morning I have to do this, in the afternoon I have to do this, and in the evening this, and be done with my day. It's something that keeps evolving, right? So I think first and foremost, the thing I find exciting and the thing that I'm passionate about is solving problems. And whenever I feel like I am at work, or more specifically in the tech space, I feel like there are new challenges that come about every day, but also so many new opportunities that come with it. So I've always been very, very passionate about studying and learning about this space, or learning about something new in general. So being able to do that as a job with people around me who also really, really seem to enjoy doing that along with me, I feel like that's what is inspiring for me at the end of the day. So it's not so much this is what we're going to, and this is how much money we're going to make, but it's really, really exciting just having to be able to, have that discourse, be able to debate back and forth on what you think will solve this one small issue that, may be very, very small to a lot of people, but for us, we feel like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And we finally found the solution after working on it for weeks. So I think that challenge, and also knowing that there's definitely going to be someone out there who's going to be able to help us, or at one point we'll be able to solve it. I think that's what keeps me going and inspired.
Nice. So I read a bit about you and some of your projects, at least to gather some information of what you do, so that I have an idea of what you do. You seem to as you said, you had a project in Bhutan where you offer programming lessons for free.
Yes.
And it seems like you have quite accomplished something in life. I think at least you have accomplished a lot. You have had your own company, actually multiple companies. And I'm curious to know, do you have some examples of one or two things you've done in or with tech that you're particularly proud of?
With tech, so I can talk about Code for Bhutan, because I feel like that's I literally call it a passion project, because it started off as literally a one-woman show. It was just me. This is something that I wanted to do because ultimately Bhutan is home, and not a lot of people know about this, but it's a beautiful place. There are a lot of people there who are creating art, creating a lot of new businesses and ideas on a daily basis, but because of our geographical disposition, oftentimes I feel like the opportunities for us to maybe get the resources that we want to achieve our full potential is limited, and also often the opportunities that we have to showcase our talent and the art that we create or the work that we do is also limited because of where we are and because of the fact that it's a small, still developing country. So I knew for a fact that I've always wanted to go back home and do something there. I mean, I still do. It's because of COVID, I've been stuck in Singapore now for the last 12 months, but usually I would always shuttle back and forth because I really felt that during my time at Code for Bhutan, that was where I really saw the potential when I was working and teaching even basic programming courses to the students there. Just the amount of questions that they would ask or the types of ideas that they would want to brainstorm and float around with me. I felt like that was an inspiration to me because I felt that there was so much potential. We just need to be able to harness it together. And finally, tech is being able to give that opportunity to them, because for so many years they've been struggling with working to finding a way to work to enhance the knowledge that they know and to also work and collaborate with other people. But in the digital space, as COVID has taught all of us, remote work is going to be universal ultimately. We're all going to be able to work with people across the world. You and I are chatting right now. So I feel like just being able to break those barriers with tech and giving the people from all pockets of the world to be able to interact with one another, to be able to learn from one another and teach one another, I think that's the most inspiring thing for me. So although it's not directly answering your question by saying this is what I do, but while I was talking to the people and actually building up this group, I felt like that was the one thing that I really, really wanted to communicate with the students there, to tell them, yes, you are physically based in Bhutan. Yes, at this point, COVID's not going to allow any of us to travel the way that we wanted to, but the internet is there. You can go online, you can connect with people. If you ask, there's always going to be somebody who will be able to help you out. So really putting into their mindset, leverage and use technology to the best of their potential, rather than consuming it just for content and then not being able to create anything. So I felt like that in itself was a big thing that I wanted to advocate for. I mean, I'm still doing that to a certain degree. So yeah, I'd say that's been that's been the thing that I wanted, that has been eye-opening for me, and I still want to help out as much as possible.
Yeah, so you said the Bhutan project specifically started as a one-woman job, I'll say right now. Mm-hmm. So what are challenges you encountered on the way, like along the way?
In the beginning, it was more trying to find other instructors who were, willing to also teach for free in Bhutan. And it started off with me, just recruiting friends, kind of telling them, hey, I'll host you in Bhutan. Why don't you just come spend 2 weeks there and help teach programming for a bit? Surprisingly, a lot of people were really open to it. And I think I wanted to, I wanted not just to teach what I know, but I wanted to bring experts who knew more than me, because ultimately I don't want it to start and end with me. I want people to grow and thrive and be able to do better than what I know. So I was bringing in my own friends that I knew from university. I was bringing in my own colleagues, the people who work with me in my team, to come and teach. So I feel like that was the biggest challenge initially, just to get the instructors to say yes. Yeah, the second thing I would say from the students' perspective was really trying to get them to understand that yes, it will be very hard in the beginning. It'll be hard on day 1, it'll be hard on day 10, but maybe on day 50, you will suddenly be able to do it. So I felt like the attrition level, especially in the beginning, was very high. People will come in thinking, hey, this is something that I want to learn. They encounter a few hiccups here and there, then they give up immediately. And I felt like I took that personally. I thought, oh my God, we're doing something wrong, because if people are not taking this class after 2-3 classes, then we need to really change. We need to really change the content. We need to change the lesson. We need to change the way we teach. So the teaching did not just happen for the programming, it happened beyond that, meaning we really had to encourage the students and tell them, don't give up. It's going to be hard in the beginning. Everybody's going to struggle, but if you stick with it, it's going to get easier. So I felt like that was the second biggest challenge in terms of just trying to get people motivated. And then the third thing, I think, which, the whole world is experiencing, just as we were building momentum for Code for Bhutan and having some sort of system where the instructors were flying to Bhutan and teaching, COVID struck. So we've had to had all of our courses online. I'm sure you, of all people, must be like must be well aware of like how online classes work. It comes with, its own sets of challenges as well. So the bright side has been, although I am based in Singapore right now, I can still conduct classes in Bhutan, but the con is that I can't go around and have that one-on-one discussion, really be able to help people solve their problems. So I'm not able to see whether or not they're actually learning the content. So I feel like those three would be the biggest challenges, I would say, so far.
COVID has really been a challenge for a lot of people all around the world.
Have you been taking your classes online as well?
At least last year or the last 2 years, most of my school life was online, which made it difficult to learn. But today I'm here. In 3 months, I'm going to be having my A-levels, and hopefully it all goes well.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah. So I have one more question, probably even my last question. Okay. So based on your experience, is tech really dominated by men? And what are challenges one faces as a female?
I would say so. I before COVID, whenever we would have tech conferences, that's when you see it the most. You walk into a conference hall and it's dominated by suits and men. And that's, although sometimes within our own offices, within our own teams, we don't realize that. When I remember thinking back in like 2017, 18, whenever I walked into a conference, I felt like it was, I always felt like we need more women in this space. And the contrast and the difference was very, very visible in that space. I would say, at least from my experience working with the teams that I have worked, they've usually been very, very open and accommodating to have women on board, to have women in the team. For me specifically, this is not, this is not because obviously I'm biased towards women, but it wasn't intentional. But in my team, we are majority women. And I think it's because whenever I hire, I make sure that, there's equal sets of applicants that come from both sides. I want to make sure that at the same time that, within the team, even within the different departments, the breakdown is equal as well. So usually what you would tend to see is you would see a lot of women in the marketing and the admin side of the team, even though it's a tech company, and then all the developers and the techies would be men. So I'm really trying to go one level down and say that, okay, within each department as well, we want to make sure that we have, an equal balance of men and women. I would say, however, the most pleasantly shocking thing that I found when I was teaching in Bhutan was, for my classes, we will always have more women sign up. Somehow in Bhutan, we would always get like more interest from girls signing up for the coding classes than boys. I don't know if it's because I am a woman and they feel more comfortable, but I thought that just seeing that trend was very, very encouraging as well. So I think, to answer your question, yes, currently we're not there. I feel like compared to 5-10 years ago, it's a lot better because there are a lot of resources, organizations, support groups, networks that have been established around promoting and empowering women in this space. So it has to work from both ways: top down, meaning the investment companies, the VCs, the incubation hubs, everyone that encourages entrepreneurship need to open up so that there is that equal, very conscious balance between men and women. And then also from the bottom, from the other side, you have to make sure that starting from the ground level, you have to encourage women, especially young girls, to understand that math is fun, coding is fun. This is something that, it's going to be useful for you throughout your life. So really encourage them to take it on from an early age as well, rather than, realizing halfway through their life that, oh, there's a gap here and I need to jump on it right now. So I feel like it has to be a conscious effort, and especially when you have the privilege to have a platform like this to talk about it, to share. It's an honor for me to come really and speak to you, get to know you, and talk here as well, because I feel like if women see the representation on screen and also in the boardroom, there is a more likelihood that they will also think that, hey, this is something that I can do as well. So I'm really always trying to encourage that, but it is really, really good to see that there are a lot more resources coming up as well.
Yeah, I'm also quite happy about the fact that there's a foundation of empowerment coming from such huge organizations and institutions like the UN right now.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly, giving me the opportunity to be able to sit here and communicate with someone who's already successful. I think that's quite an honor. I'm also quite pleased, as you said, about the fact that you while hiring people, you look for equals, meaning in your departments you employ equals from female and male.
Yes.
I think that's something I personally would also take for my personal life. Maybe one day I'm gonna decide to have a company or something. Those are fine details, but it's also something one can take from this.
But in my case, really, like I said, it's a happy coincidence that it's happened. But honestly, when I hire based on merit, and oftentimes women are just better for the job. So it's not my fault that we have majority women in the company. They're just better at it.
Yeah. So nice. I think from my side, I had the opportunity to ask questions I have or had, and also got really accurate answers, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, and I think for my side, this was a successful interview.
Okay.
I now have some sort of an insight on how people get into technology. As for your story, you did not directly come into tech. I also spoke to another woman, and she already knew she wanted to go to tech. She just did not know how or where to start from. So it's quite interesting also to see how stories are different from person to person, and how individual such decisions can be.
Are you personally studying anything related to technology or computer science right now?
For me, in school, I just have the usual math. 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to choose a lesson about coding and so on, about media in general. I didn't do that because then it would have ruined my A-levels, because I had a plan on how I want to do my A-levels and how I'd be most successful when it comes to grades. But personally, as one can see, I am quite in technology. I work together with projects. when it comes to technology. Now, for example, the task force, I've been in, or I'm still in some other projects that involve technology. I have started learning coding and so on. So I'm on the soft way still.
Okay.
I'm also quite undecided, but maybe I'm going to find myself somewhere in a technology field.
Yeah, and that's completely fine, being undecided. I think the most important thing is for you to keep learning how to learn. Because I feel like in the technology space, it's not so much, you memorize formulas and you're able to like regurgitate the answer like a robot. Nobody expects that anymore. But what they do expect you is to be able to understand new concepts, really break it down, and try to find real life applications for it. And for that, the most important thing is really having an open mind and continue to learn and learn how to learn, and be willing to experiment with that. And I think that's what you're doing right now. And at this age, experimenting and learning different subjects, different methods of learning those subjects, I think those are more valuable than actually saying, hey, I want to do this one particular job and I'm going to stick with that for the next 20 years, because that's very unrealistic.
Yeah, true. I also do believe that I'm not just going to have one job that I'm going to do my whole life. At some point, I'm also going to throw my life out of the window and just start something new.
Yeah, that's how you do it, That's where the best.
But it's also quite nice to learn that it's totally fine to start something new from such a young age. So the risk, one is ready to take risks and not just stay somewhere comfortable.
Correct.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like you know what you're doing, so.
Yeah, I also feel like I know what I'm doing, but not quite really. I'm still learning as
that's right really now. The best. So
yeah, quite open for everything. So I thank you very much for your time. I feel like this was a very successful interview. As I said, I've learned a lot from you today, and I'm also for sure going to take some things you said and also try experimenting with them. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll see each other or meet somewhere, or just without even coincidentally. And
come to Bhutan. I think you will really like it.
Yeah, I'm still young. There's still a lot of things to find out. I'm just gonna kick it in and find out what the world has to offer.
Sounds good, Sandra. It was lovely talking to you too.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
And for now, I'd say goodbye.
Goodbye.